Hey, I'm Shana Meyerson with YOGAthletica in Los Angeles, California, here today to tell you I'm doing something different. After 25 years, I am doing something different about my downward facing dog. Now, if you follow me closely, you know that I think that downward facing dog is one of the most potent poses in all of yoga. It took me decades to come to that realization. It was a pose I took for granted as just sort of like this lazy pose I do between poses. I've done it 10 billion times. Who cares? I care. I care a lot. And if you see my down dog tweak video, I talk about how I, over the last few years, have really started infusing the Iyengar style downward facing dog, which is the big back bend, into the Ashtanga practice, which is not a back bend, it's a core engagement. So today I want to talk about what has changed and why. So I'm going to be working just with Cobra today to keep things simple. Everything I say from Cobra applies to upward facing dog as well, even though the two poses are vastly different. More than just arms are straight or arms are not straight. And if you don't understand that, you've got to watch my upward facing dog versus Cobra video. It is essential viewing for anybody who takes his or her yoga seriously. So let's look at a Cobra position. Cobra position is what kind of a posture? I hope you know it's a back bend, correct? So as I lift up, it's not a push-up. This is the mistake most people make. You see how my back is sort of flat on top? This is just an arm position. This is not, it's not even good for your back, but that's not how a back bend is created. A back bend is created in the upper back with the shoulders in the back and down position. And as I lift up, instead of going straight up, I go up and over into something of a C curve in my upper back. So it feels like a lot of back bend in my upper back. Now, previously what I was doing was I was doing the Ashtanga method of taking a push-up, okay, afterwards to get to dog, which would look like this. After I do this big back bend, right, you lie back down, engage your core, take a push-up to plank, right? So now it's the opposite of a back bend, right? And then pulling back. And if you watch my other video, you can create that back bend, that spinal extension, by bending the knees, keeping the armpits low, and pressing back. This, by the way, is the Iyengar downward facing dog. This is how you would do an Ashtanga dog. It's relevant. It's relevant because an Ashtanga dog is necessary for stepping or jumping to the front of the mat, which is what you're going to have to do in an Ashtanga vinyasa practice, okay? You can't step or jump forward from an Iyengar dog. So the very fact that I'm putting Iyengar dog into my Ashtanga vinyasa practice is purely heretical. However, it serves a purpose for somebody who really wants to get deeper into your upper back and shoulders. Very few people have multiple backs, but only one shoulder. Upper back and shoulders. And so I've been thinking lately, what I've been doing is going from the back bend, right, of a Cobra. This is called a spinal extension into into a flat back, okay? Tucking the toes, engaging the core. So I have a flat back entering into what would be the Ashtanga downward facing dog, a flat back. You can see how high my head is from the floor. Now, in order to get into Iyengar, if I bend my knees, drop my chest, look how low the armpits go. I don't want to get too repetitive here because I've already gone over this in my other video, which I'll link, and press my heels down. It's a very different pose. But good luck jumping to the front of the mat with your head on the floor. Okay, so Regardless, you're going to have to take this back into the Ashtanga style before going to the front of the mat. But let me talk about why I have decided to change up after 25 years the way that I am entering into my downward facing dog. So for anybody who's taken my teacher training, for example, or again, if you watch my videos very, very carefully, you know that my definition of vinyasa, okay, so not the translation. Vinyasa means flow. That's the translation. But my definition of vinyasa is maintaining as much of pose A as possible, whatever your starting pose is, as you transition into pose B, whatever the next pose is. But very integral to that is the transition. What am I maintaining in that process? So for example, I've used the explanation very often, like if you watch my Vimeo videos, and you should, those are my full-length classes, that so many people, if they're going from like, say, triangle to half moon, they go triangle, they come out, they go back in, and then they're in half moon, which is the same alignment as triangle. So they went from open to closed to open, which breaks the concept of vinyasa, as opposed to I'm open, my arm is up, all these things don't change. All I really need to do is look down and float a foot, and now that's vinyasa. Now I've minimized the number of things that change from pose A to pose B. So I've just been reevaluating, and by the way, if you're so complacent in your yoga that you think doing the same pose the same way hundreds of thousands of times is accomplishing anything, you need to revisit your yoga. This is why yoga is called a practice. It's not something that you do, it's something that you practice, because you will not master a single pose in a lifetime. Not just you, me. This is a growing, evolving practice that every day you should be looking and saying, how can I approach this differently? How can I approach this pose with more integrity? How can I get more out of this pose? So my decision recently has been, because I've been focusing on that Iyengar style back bendy downward facing dog, what if I take the back bend from Cobra, because I've already corrupted the Ashtanga thing. So the Ashtanga style takes the extra push-up. However, I've already corrupted the Ashtanga by simply inserting an Iyengar style dog in the first place. So how do I maintain as much of pose A as possible as I go into pose B? Well, the answer is, once I lock my spine into this big back bend and my shoulders back and down, if I tuck my toes and press back and maintain the back bend the whole way, then I will naturally wind up in a very deep Iyengar style downward facing dog. This may not seem revolutionary to you because most people do not take the other push-up that I have advocated for 25 years. And I'm not necessarily going against that. If you take the push-up every time, you're gonna wind up doing about, I don't know, 20, 25 extra push-ups just through the A's and B's. That's really gonna build upper body strength. So I'm not saying not to do it that way. I'm just saying, if you want to really, really focus on upper back and shoulders, if you think it's kosher to insert an Iyengar style down dog into the Ashtanga Sun Salutations, I'm loving this. I'm loving just going straight back and just staying deep, deep, deep in my upper back. This is Shana Meyerson with YOGAthletica in Los Angeles, California. Be sure to check out my Vimeo channels, links are below, where I teach full-length classes. So you're not just learning pose instruction, but you're learning the entire practice so you could get maximum benefits from your yoga. And have questions, comments, leave them below. I always answer. You know what they say. Namaste. And have a great day.